Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at 10 Pokemon you should definitely keep because they're only one move away from becoming meta for the Open Great League. And today we're going to have a focus on Pokemon that really don't have any play at all really currently, as well as Pokemon that have been only recently released into the game and they didn't really get the best moves that they could get. And so today we're going to take a look at those Pokemon that you definitely should keep. So if you enjoy those videos, feel free to leave a like, let me know down below what Pokemon did I miss? Which Pokemon do you think just need one specific move update in order to become meta? Let me know down below. Would really be interesting for me because I might make another part and I could put your comment into the video as well then, which would be cool. So let's start in here with Pokemon number 1, which is Skarmory. Skarmory is a Pokemon that was dominating the Go Battle League meta for quite a while in the beginning of it, and then it got nerfed quite significantly as Sky Attack got nerfed in multiple kind of ways. And now I would like to add a Drill Run. Drill Run is going to give it better coverage. It's going to also allow it to just get some cheaper move on here as well with Drill Run. Drill Run is going to be 5 less energy than the Sky Attack would be. But Drill Run also going to just allow you to hit Pokemon like the Bastion for double super effective damage, which previously was a bit of a difficult Pokemon to play. This will not make the Skarmory like absolutely broken, but it will make this Pokemon more playable because again, you're going to be able to beat Bastion now, but you're also going to be able to get to your charge move a little bit faster, which makes a Pokemon with an amazing typing and amazing bulk definitely a little bit stronger. You could add more towards Skarmory though in order to make this Pokemon more interesting, like a new fast move would allow this Pokemon to be even better than that, but again, you kind of have to be a bit careful with this Pokemon. Skarmory can be very easily very overpowered to the point where back in the day we had to have a very significant update towards Sky Attack because Skarmory was too broken. And just to prevent it, I have here a very nice buff that will definitely help it out quite a bit without making it broken. Starmie is a Pokemon that has so many easy ways of buffing it. Starmie currently has absolutely zero play, but Psywave and Power Gem is actually really good coverage. You have Ice Mirror's coverage, you have Surf currently has a charge move, but what I would like to see on this Pokemon would be Aqua Jet, which is 5 energy less than Surf, which allows you to have way better pacing, which is very important for the current meta, and it makes Starmie basically immediately a top threat for the current meta, which is kind of funny. It's a very attack-weighted Pokemon, it's a Pokemon that is fun to run, it's a Pokemon that you haven't really seen for a while, and again, today we kind of focus on really Pokemon that you don't see at all, as well as Pokemon that only recently got added, and this is definitely a Pokemon you don't really see at all. I don't know when the last time was where I encountered a Starmie, and for very good reason, because this Pokemon currently is a little bit too slow, but there's ways to fix it. I think it can also learn Psyshock, which would be also another way of fixing this issue. But Aqua Jet is better because it has better coverage, and yeah, this is kind of mainly what it is about. And so we can move on to the next Pokemon. We're going to have Colossal. Colossal only lost Incinerate last second before it got released. And for no particular reason. Like, now Colossal is actually still sometimes usable in limited metas, but like it's honestly not anywhere close to being usable in other metas. It's just not really that strong. But if you would just give it back Incinerate, this Pokemon would be fantastic again. It's not broken. Like, it's not broken, but it would just enter the top meta basically with the moveset that you have. And this is something I would like to see for this Pokemon. Just that we have a new Pokemon in the meta that is going to be strong, because guess what? Colossal is never going to be broken. Colossal has so many weaknesses. Fire and Rock together is a really bad defensive typing because you have a double weakness to both ground as well as water. But you also still have like single weaknesses to like Rock and fighting, and there are mostly quite a few more as well. But generally speaking, this Pokemon's type itself is quite frail, so you're always going to find kind of an answer for it. But like this, it would be actually such a phenomenal breaker for the current meta. So we have to see. Hopefully we're going to get Incinerate back on Colossal because it would make this Pokemon quite more interesting even than the Magcargo, which already has Incinerate. But Magcargo doesn't have a Rock Slide as well as not Flame Charge, which is both, in my opinion, the better charge moveset. Flamigo only got recently added and got access to the fast move of Double Kick, which is honestly not a bad fast move at all. But with a moveset of Upper Hand and a Brave Bird, you actually have a fantastic charge moveset where a move like Peck just going to allow you to perform a little bit stronger there. Peck is, generally speaking, just a better fast move than Double Kick. Double Kick is not bad at all, but Peck is just like, especially as a 2-turn fast move, it's one of the strongest moves currently in the game, and this Pokemon learns Peck just from the level up, so it would be quite intuitive that this Pokemon gets access to this move, and if it gets access to this move, this Pokemon, which is a very squishy Pokemon already, is going to be actually fantastic for the current meta, which would be really, really cool to see. So Flamigo is definitely a Pokemon with a lot of potential that you should definitely keep, and it's already actually quite usable to play in the current meta. Kilowattrel. You might think that this Pokemon has absolutely zero going for it. Like, look at this, it's really, really bad. And we add Discharge, a move that is also not very strong, but it actually fixes a problem for this Pokemon. And while yes, this Pokemon still doesn't have the best stats on paper, it still actually gains quite a lot of average rating and wins at the same time. And the one thing where actually Discharge is kind of nice here is that you have basically electric type fast move damage and then Discharge as your main charge move, which is also electric type, but it's not the strongest move basically. But with the fast move damage and with Discharge being very spammy, you still have some nice electric type coverage, which you currently don't have with the current standard moveset. And also, Acrobatics can function very well as just a pure flying type nuke, so you don't really need to rely on like cheap flying type damage. If you have Acrobatics, which just hits super hard, it's gonna be stab on this Pokemon as well, and just gonna be very, very interesting. So like, I feel like that this would be a very intuitive change. If you want to buff this Pokemon even further, give it Volt Switch. Volt Switch is also learned by Kilowattrel, directly even I think by level up as well, and would help this Pokemon out even more because then you have a lot more fast move pressure, which is kind of nice with a Pokemon like this Pokemon here where it's quite attack weighted. Centiskorch, a Pokemon again that you don't see whatsoever, but actually has something going for it. You have Ember and Lunge together. That means you have a very fast combination of a fast energy generating move of the fast move of Ember and a debuffing move in the Lunge. You just don't have a nice good fire type coverage move, which is kind of important for fire type. We have Crunch as your secondary charge move. And so we had Flame Wheel, which makes a lot of sense with the Pokemon, and if you know on how this Pokemon works in the main CS games. Flame Wheel is kind of a crime that's not on this Pokemon yet, and we see already it boosts this Pokemon quite significantly and gives it a lot of play against Pokemon like even like the Corviknight, which before was a bit more difficult. And this is something I would love to see just because it's going to make this more difficult to play against. Like more difficult to play against because you don't know if it's going to be the Lunge, which you can most of the times take, or a way harder hitting Flame Wheel. So I do think this would be amazing for the Centiskorch. Flame Wheel makes a lot of sense in this thing, and it's a move again that this Pokemon learns via level up. Okay, this is not specifically for Noctowl, but I would like to talk about Feather Dance. Feather Dance is known by so many different kind of Pokemon. They're all flying type Pokemon, of course, but it's only known currently in the Pokemon Go by one Pokemon, which is Pidgeot. I feel like this move could have potential on other Pokemon as well. Here, well, on paper, like you don't actually win anything more against the current top meta. You actually get 5 extra wins for having this charge move. It's mainly, of course, good for bulky Pokemon like the Noctowl. But yeah, Noctowl is struggling with a bad fast move and a bad charge move here basically currently, which completely shuts this Pokemon down. Feather Dance fixes a little bit of one of the problems, but then again, you would very likely want to have another fast move in order to make this Pokemon even stronger. But Feather Dance is just generally a move that I would like to see on more different Pokemon. This is something I suggested prior already. Like, what was the last time we faced at Victreebel? It's a Pokemon that I actually want to showcase still. Like, this is definitely on my list for the Great League, but Great League hasn't been available for a while. So, yeah, Shadow Victreebel definitely a Pokemon I want to showcase. And with Weather Ball Fire, it would be definitely very cool. But again, you don't actually win that more many matchups against the top meta. But you have 2 extra wins with this thing. Sludge Bomb is just not really the best move there. It's really not the greatest move at all. Especially if you have Leaf Blade. And like a lot of targets, for example, here the Azumarill is going to be fine with the Leaf Blade as well. Even Weekly Type is going to be fine just going for the Leaf Blade spam. So just generally speaking, I do think that Victreebel just doesn't really need to have the Sludge Bomb. And Weather Ball Fire is cool, but not broken. It's not stab, but it's going to allow you to hit Steel type Pokemon that previously were just walling you, which is really nice as well. So I do think that this is going to be definitely an update that I would at least personally like to see. Armarouge is going to be next. This Pokemon would learn Aura Sphere, and why it's so overpowered to have Aura Sphere on this Pokemon is what we're going to take a look at now, because it actually changes a lot, making it top meta immediately. Basically, Aura Sphere is going to be a reach after 2 Incinerates, which is really, really fast, ridiculously fast. One of the hardest hitting moves. It's going to give you coverage against the rock type Pokemon that usually would be difficult for you. It also gives you coverage against Pokemon that are part normal type like Licky, which would be also very nice for you. So basically, you're going to be able to have here a very consistent, very nice hard hitting move that can counter some of the weaknesses that your current Pokemon has, which is kind of, yeah, funny, because you can counter quite a lot that the Armarouge doesn't really want to see. Like, for example, a lot of normal type Pokemon are good against those Psychic and Ghost type Pokemon, and in this case also the fire type Pokemon, because you have roller normal types like the Licky. And you're going to be able to hit them then for super effective damage, so they're not safe stops against you, which would be fantastic. To the last one here, Munchlax is going to be the final one on this list today. Munchlax is going to be a Pokemon that I would love to see. Munchlax is one of the bulkiest Pokemon that nobody's using, and it has Tackle, Fast Move, and Body Slam and Bulldoze. It also learns, I actually do think it learns Gunk Shot. Gunk Shot is a very fun move to run as well, but like it's very situational. But Munchlax would really appreciate Trailblaze, because it would allow it to not only have great coverage now against the meta, like Pokemon like Jellicent, which before you can't hit at all, or also like the Gaston, you're going to be able to hit for a little bit better. You also boost your own attack with Stab Tackle. It actually can do quite a bit, and I would like to see that Munchlax has a little bit of play in the Go Battle League again. With this, it's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Again, let me know down below. What do you think? Which Pokemon you would think needs only one move to be buffed? What content do you want to see next on this channel? We're going to have to still survive for around 3 more weeks in order to get the new season. So hopefully you're going to be able to do that. And I will see you then. Bye-bye.